Hi, you're watching AvenueX. I'm going to try to not make any edits, so not cut this video, unless some really weird noise happens and I have to cut it, but I'm going to try to make this one whole take. And today I want to rant about something that I've been thinking about regarding Chinese Dramaland for quite a while, but never really found a good time to talk about it. And since this video goes out on a weekend, I thought it might be a good thing to do on a weekend morning to rant about such things as a very relaxed way of talking about stuff. So this thing is a problem that has been around for a long time. And I think a lot of people within the industry or also in the audience realize it's there and people are becoming more aware of this problem. But it's still here and there's no sign of it going away anytime soon. And that is, as a female leading role in any dramas, there's a very tiny age range that's allowed for such a character to become a lead character. So if you are a woman, actress, a female actress, or if this is a female character, it has a very narrow age range, probably from say 15 to 25, and that's only the comfortable range of age where an actress can play a particular role within that age to become a main role. I mean, it's not like everybody has to be young, but if you are the main role, you kind of have to be 15 to 25. Otherwise, you become a mother. Yeah, that's I would usually edit here, but otherwise you become the mother, the aunt, the servant, the older generation, whoever, just not the leading role. This is also applicable to male roles, but the restrictions are much smaller and less. But when it comes to female roles, it's just unavoidably you have to be young. Not necessarily meaning that the actress has to be super young. You can be in your 30s as long as you can act 15-year-old convincingly on screen, which, you know, through camera work, lighting, a lot of Botox, whatever you do off screen, it is still possible to pull off. But the thing is, your perceived age by the general audience, when you come on screen, that you can convince other people to be young, that is important. And when you look at the recent years, all the major big dramas, whether it's a big female role drama, like I've talked about in one of my previous videos, or it's just a standard drama with a leading woman and a leading man, almost all of them have the roles at very sort of restricted, that tiny section of human life. Now there are sort of a legend of somebody, that type of historical where you starts with somebody who is 15 and ends up when they're 80 or something, but that's a very biographical kind of drama, so that's different. Anything else, pretty much the leading role is restricted, female role, to that tiny section of human life. I think I got really perked by the beginning of Fu Yao almost a month ago when the drama started to air. The first episodes talk about the fated female leading role, who is a 五色石少女, 5-color stone young girl, who is destined to bring chaos to that world of that drama setting. The moment I heard that word, I was like, ah, because 少女 is very specific in Chinese. Literally translates into young female or young woman. If you are younger, you would be called 女孩, which is female child. So a like female sex child. That's like when you're under 10 or something, under 11. And 少女 is the sort of older section. Usually I would say from like 12, 13 to about 17, 18. So it's a very tiny window, about 5-6 years of age of a woman, and that is where you can be called 少女, young woman. Once you go over that, you can still be called a young woman, I mean in English terms, but you are not 少女 anymore. 少女 is extremely specific. And Yami is, well, she's over 30. She has a kid in real life. And she's a boss of a gigantic company. And I mean, in every way, she's way past 少女 age. Not that I have any problems, because I mean, with all the help from cosmetics and I mean, a lot of money they probably invest in taking care of their looks every day, she still looks young enough to play a 少女. But the fact is, she's no longer a 少女. She's way past that. And she has to play somebody who's almost half of her actual age, because that is the only role, really, the type of roles that any sort of tier 1 most famous, most commercially valuable actresses right now in China, that's the only type of role you can play. Whether you're actually 30 or 25 or 35, it's fine, as long as you look like you're a 15-year-old or starting at the story 15-year-old or early 20. It's fine, but you have to play that type of role of that age. Otherwise, you just don't hold that position as a leading actress, an actress who can play leading roles anymore. And once the market or the audience consider you to be way past that age, you kind of have to phase out. You have to become the second tier of actress, the supporting roles, the sisters, the mothers, the whatever, the aunties in the drama, or the teacher's wife if it's a period drama. Yeah, all that. And it's a very sad situation, because as an actress, Yang Mi started her career, I'm just using her as an example here, she started her career well in her like 15, 16 teenager years. She's been in the industry for over 15 years probably. And look at all the roles she has played. She has grown as an actual person in real life, but her roles is exactly the same role she has always been playing, which is the young girl, the virgin-like, innocent, pure-hearted, inexperienced, perfect heroine. That is just really, really sad, because on one hand, that means most of the stories you get to see these days, when you see the female leading roles, they are the same type of young woman. It's almost like it's a way of saying, if you're not young enough, you are not deserving to be as the center of a story or in the spotlight, which is just completely wrong, because, you know, only if you're really unlucky, you die very young, your life stops when you are 18. If you're fortunate enough, you live to your 60s, 70s, 80s, 100s, you, as a woman, you're gonna go through all stages of life. You cannot always stay perfectly youthful with perfect skin and inexperienced mind. And doesn't mean other parts of your life is no longer interesting or worth telling. It's probably more interesting. As you grow older, there'll be more stories. But the sad situation is, these stories never take center stage these days in Chinese Dramaland. It is fixed on that tiny section of your very young, physically sort of peak time. And seemingly that's the only part of the story that's worth telling. On the other hand, for those actresses, it's a very sad situation too, because unless you are the kind of actress who only are in the game for the money, and you happen to be super pretty and really good at acting, and you're just wanting to go into this for like 10 years of your peak time, get enough money, get out. Unless you're that type of actress, there are. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to stay in the game for a long time, if you love acting as a career, and you want to advance, you want to become better at your craft, then it's natural that as the actress develops and grows, they would want to take on different roles that are more complicated, roles that are older, roles that are more experienced, maybe a divorced somebody or a person who runs a big company, a person who's had a lot of unhappy events happening in their life as they grow older, and dealing with different types of situations that only happens at a certain age. So it would not happen to a young person, but will happen to a person with, you know, like more experience and more years on planet. It would be natural for those actors who trying to attempt and expand their portfolio. But the more successful you are these days, or commercially valuable these days as an actress in China, you are more stuck to one type of roles, the young girl roles. It's impossible for you to get out, because if you want to push your envelope and play something that's different, that may mean that it will, if you're super successful, the audience may change their perception of you and they think you're no longer the young type of Rose. And if you don't get the young type of Rose, it's almost like there's no good script for older Rose, and therefore there's no drama for you to act, and there's no money, and your fame goes down. Like, it's a really sick situation. So I think they are also kind of kidnapped by the situation where they're stuck in the role, playing it year after year. I mean, if you, again, look at Yang Mi as example, 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms, Fu Yao, and you think about the past few years, all her work, it's like she's just playing the same kind of age and same type of role over and over because there's no other choice. You can't do other roles. You are just stuck. Yeah, this is what happens to Chinese Dramaland right now. And so I think both for the people who actually work in the industry, the actresses, and also for the audiences, it's not a good thing. I've watched a recent interview with Yang Mi talking about Fu Yao by a interviewer who I really don't like, but they did talk about something about female roles, about what roles are available for actresses such as her right now, who's already had a lot of money, a lot of fame, probably can pick any role she can, but she actually doesn't get any type of roles. Like, for example, she mentioned Frances McDormand's role in 3 Billboards, and she, I don't know, I can feel like she's really in the way that she talks about it, she's really looking forward to something that are that challenging and interesting, and she hoped one day she could be playing something like that. But you know very well how she is positioned in the industry. While she has money, she has a lot of supporting fans, she has probably everything, but no role as such would come to her anytime soon because of how the market or how the entire industry views, I guess, women, especially leading women, as an archetypical type of women. And I think about in the West, it's much less serious, this problem. I mean, you can pick so many different female interesting roles at different ages, not just young, but for example, How to Get Away with Murder, Viola Davis role. I think the first season, that's the only season I watched, but I was like, wow, this is so cool. You have such an interesting female role who's not 25, who's not perfect skinned, young and innocent, yet it's super interesting and intense to watch that drama unfolding. Or Robin Wright's role in House of Cards. You can pick so many more interesting, more diverse, age range wise, character setup wise roles in the sort of US, the Western Dramaland. But when you go to China, it's like nothing. Like, you can't find anything that's remotely similar to what you can find in the West. It's very sad. It's very sad for the storytellers. It's very sad, I think, for the audience, because you don't get to see the diversity of human life. Because the truth is, when I look back on my life, although I'm not that old, I think about when I was 15, 16, or maybe 21 or something, I was like, there's no way I want to go back. Even though I might be younger then. But I think over the years, you've gathered more, I'd like to say, wisdom or experience, and you think you become more like the real you, and in the process, and then you compare it to what you used to be, and you're like, that's such a silly, young, inexperienced person. How could I even ever, how could I ever was that person? There's no way I want to go back, mentally especially, to that place. So that is one thing, and also I think it's also very sad for those very successful, glamorous actresses who are basically stuck in their career because they just have no choice. They either play the roles again and again repetitively, probably to the point where they don't even have to use their emotion or actual feelings. They can just use their skills to execute because they've just played the same role like a gazillion times. And as they actually grow older, their roles don't. And I think it's a very, very sad situation. So that's the ranting of this video. Let me take a look at how long it's been. 15 minutes. Hopefully I'm not making a cut of this. And it's the first time, no editing, long ranting video from AvenueX. I would love to hear your opinions about the situation. What do you think? Do you think this perception is, I guess, close to what you think? Or do you think I'm actually really wrong about the situation? Or if you are, especially if you're from Asia, have you ever thought about this? Or if you've thought about this, do you think there's a way that things can, I don't know, start to change and become better? With quotation mark. I mean, we can argue what is good and bad, right? In a relative or absolute term. But thank you for watching this ranting video from AvenueX on a Sunday morning if you are in North America. Take care, and what should I say? Yes, at the end of every video of mine, thank you for watching AvenueX. I'll see you in my next video. Oh, and one thing before I go. I've been crazy about Guardian and Zhenhun recently, and so I'm gonna do on my Patreon the next watch a full episode Chinese drama video, definitely on Zhenhun. And I'm going to rant about a lot of things I've gathered, all the information that I've heard about, and I've also actually gone through the original novel, so that video is going to be very heavy with a lot of talks. So if you've been following my channel and if you're interested in such type of videos, finally, at the end of this ranting video, let me do a quick advertisement for my Patreon page. You can go there and welcome to sign up. And thank you for your support. Thank you for watching AvenueX. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama watching.